Hey SoulPancake. In my first video, I told you my story about sobriety, kind of how I got there and what it's been like for me. This video, I really wanted to dive into what it's like in this new COVID world, right, of isolation and being by ourselves. So I reached out to some sober friends of mine and asked them a few questions. If you don't mind, just tell me how long you've been sober.
33 years now.
Almost 25 years sober. I got sober in 1995.
I'm coming up on 2 years.
Almost 3 years.
14 years.
The second question was how this is affecting their sober routines.
We're a group that thrives on mixing. In all of our kind of literature, it says we, and it's a very kind of like bonding experience that we have, that how it's affected us is that meeting and congregating has been taken away from us. For us, it's a big deal.
I mean, I guess I didn't really realize how kind of important seeing people was. Like, I'm going to a lot of online meetings, and that's been really good. But the intimacy of like sharing a physical space with people is really special. I really missed that.
I guess it's changed in that I was kind of tired of going to meetings before, and now I find them a kind of necessity to everyday life.
Doing these Zoom meetings, it's not my favorite. Don't actually enjoy it, but the accessibility has probably helped my sobriety a little bit.
So having all the meetings closed and having to move everything online is one thing, right? That affects us in one way, being sober people. I wanted to know really how it's affecting people personally.
A lot of places I go, say outside of recovery, just to meet a spiritual need, are closed as well. One of our steps is prayer and meditation and improving our conscious contact with something that we understand. That is like had to double.
I'm a people person. Like, I need contact, and it's forcing me to really set aside like my will and just know that my higher power is present, because I can get, like, when I'm not around people, I can get really low and super depressed. I miss people like a lot.
There's been nothing like this ever before, but I feel like as alcoholics, we have been through this before. I've sat in the isolation of my disease for such a long time that I convinced myself it was me versus everyone else, or it was me alone in the world.
For me personally, it made me connect in a way that I haven't really done since I was very new and young in the program. I got sober when I was very young, and that first 6 months of my sobriety, I was in meetings all day long and just got swept up by the sea of it. And I've found that this COVID scenario of how we do our recovery program has given me that same energy of feeling swept up in the community in a way that has been incredibly healing.
So another large part of the Alcoholics Anonymous program is service, right? It's one alcoholic talking to another alcoholic. It's meeting with people who are new. It's calling people with less time than you, calling people with more time than you. And I wondered, in this age, like, of everything going online and everything's changed. It feels like everything's changed. Has it? And if it has, how so?
It's interesting because I think like a different kind of service is demanded. On the plus side, like I have a couple sponsees within the steps right now, and so we've been kind of doing our meetings via Skype or via Zoom.
I reached out to some of the older people in our community who might be intimidated by the technology, and knowing that they were the most vulnerable in our community. And I would invite them to one-on-one Zoom chats and show them how to get comfortable with the tools.
My job is essentially a service position, so I'm kind of always in AA in some capacity. The 8 to 5 me is very service oriented, and then the online meeting me is more me checking in on my own sobriety.
Okay, let's go back to World War II, when we were like a fledgling kind of group. And if you look at the soldiers who were in war and in battle that kept sober through correspondence, they had a really high rate of recovery. They had a really high rate of recovery, despite the odds that they could just at any minute just go, well, I'm in battle right now. Let me have a swig off that flask.
So I don't think that the concept of service is going to change. I just think that maybe some of the ways that we're implementing it right now are going to have to adapt. So instead of stacking chairs and making coffee, it might look like emails and Zoom meetings, right? So what's next? What now?
The bonding comes with our shared experience. The fact that I can talk to somebody on the phone and I have the same feelings and I can identify with that person, that won't change, because I see it happening in online meetings, and I talk to guys on the phone and I talk to guys that have more time than me, and that won't change. The magic of, like, sometimes you need a hug and a pat on the back and an attaboy. That magic of being together is most definitely going to change.
Showing up and being kind of like not having this as an excuse to kind of like be less of a like present, stable light in the world has been a good experience, because that way when other people are freaking out, we can kind of be like, hey, I hear you and it's going to be okay, and I think we all need that sometimes, just somebody to be like, I totally hear you and it's a very appropriate emotion you're feeling right now, but like it's going to be okay and we're going to get through this together, even as everything fucking falls apart. Because like what else,